gathered on Wednesday night. Donny, Brandi, Randy, Texas. What's the topic with some bite? Find what to discuss next. Lake monsters, swimming around, getting messy. Lake monsters, all those creatures except Nessie. What swims American waters? Discussing monsters of the lakes. Not beavers, gators, nor otters, and not Nessie, cause that shit's fake. Lake monsters, swimming around, getting messy. Lake monsters, all the creatures except Nessie. The hero BMR is here. From Detroit, the land of cars and trucks, to battle monsters we all fear. Except for Nessie, that dude sucks.
Yeah, screw Nessie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know like a Nessie.
Yeah, Loch Ness Monster sucks. He blows.
Well, I will say one thing about it, though. You got to give Tex a little bit more meat than what you gave him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, AI did that.
Yeah, that's
Chat
true.
GPT, so I took one look at it and was like, okay, this is how he looks. Hey, everybody in the chat.
What's going on? Well, we got a few people out there, it looks like. So, yeah. So, let's see. What else we got going on this week? We got this. We got to pay another bill. We got to pay another bill.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I almost forgot. Got to pay another bill. Where are you at? You're
This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks. With an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.
okay. I'm going to say one thing right now, though. I don't know so much about the educational side of it. I have a feeling it's just going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, they'll be meeting me, so they'll be getting an education. Don't worry.
Oh, once again, never mind.
I'll be educating them.
What's going on, Tex?
Yeah, he just appeared out of nowhere.
Well, I was in the back having a conversation with my wife, and
then we blew up your phone.
And I'm like,
and then Randy and I were like, "Where are you, Tex? Why aren't you coming?"
Well, I was because because she gets home a lot later than I do.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know? And she just walked in the house, and we had some stuff we had to talk about. But I was like, I'll be there in a little bit. I didn't even know y'all. I didn't know. So, I was like, but hey, I got here.
Yeah, but you missed.
You have arrived.
You'll get to see it when we get to the end of it, but you missed the intro for today.
I
Donny
prepared a special theme song. Yeah, I was hard at work.
Oh, well, I get to see it with, everybody else.
Yeah.
But,
totally blew my wad on the theme of the week, though. Hey, everybody.
Hey, if y'all haven't, y'all need to go watch that show I just did. It's only about 20 minutes long.
Yep.
But it's fascinating. I mean, what's going on with these killer whales is just incredible. I mean,
what was that show that was on for a little while? What was it called? Wasn't Animal Kingdom? It might have been. Yeah, I think it was called Animal Kingdom, where the animals were starting to talk to each other and starting to take over.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it was called. Either Animal Kingdom or Zoo. It was Zoo, maybe, is what it was. Yeah. But either way, it was freaky. I wish it would continue so I could have figured out what the hell was going on.
I thought it was the aliens doing it or something, or a virus. No, it was a virus.
Yeah, it was some sort of virus of some sort that.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of petered out. I didn't see what happened. So
yeah, but these damn things are. It's weird because you got these experts, these biologists, these whale specialists, and everything. These guys, and some of them are saying literally the exact opposite of each other. One person they're advising people, do not stop your boat if you encounter them. The other one is saying stop your boat if you encounter them. And
no kidding,
because you ain't gonna outrun them. You're not gonna. They're mainly attacking sailboats and leisure yachts. You're not gonna outrun them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
was crazy. I mean, and I'm gonna do another episode on it because it's unfolding, because there's like 3 generations of whales that are in this one pod, and there's like 30 plus whales in this pod.
Really?
Yeah. And they're hanging around the most of these attacks are around the Strait of Gibraltar. That area. And they've been going, I didn't know this, they've been going since 2020. And they sank, what was it, 12 vessels? Sank 12 vessels.
Sank 12 vessels.
Sank 12 vessels.
How many people have died?
I didn't see any of that information.
No known fatalities yet?
None that I could find. But it seems to be mainly the juveniles that are doing this, and the parents are sitting back watching it. And there has been no confirmed reports of a big male in the attack. They just sit back and watch. So, I mean, I don't know, it's pretty strange behavior if you ask me. But one guy is saying they're big dolphins. We know that. And they're doing this, and they're not meaning any harm. They're playing. They're racing the boats. No, these things are taking out the rudders.
Really?
And then ramming them repeatedly till they start taking on water. These attacks last from anywhere from a few minutes to almost an hour.
It kind of sounds like the way the pod hunting, when they're hunting, like when they go after gray whales and such and humpbacks, the calves. It sounds like that's what they're kind of doing the same thing. They're thinking they're drowning whatever that is, but they know it's a boat. They know it's not an actual, it's a food as a food source, unless they want to start eating the people that are on board. Now that might be a little different. So,
yeah, I mean they haven't as of yet that I've seen, but it's cool because they had a map on USA Today. They had a map of all the attacks from each year and where they were clustered at, and they think that they're following the tuna migration because they that's their main food source. But I don't know. But I'm telling you, folks, and I said this in the video, if you have not seen the movie Orca from 1977, go watch that movie. That is an incredible movie.
Well, we were sitting there talking about this relatively newer stuff, and now I saw one that Mickey put out there too. She was asking, what do we think about the bears, black bears in Stillwell, Kansas, and Grandview, Missouri? I mean, I was looking at this earlier, and I was like, oh crap, she brought this up, and I didn't even think about it. But they're kind of in suburban areas almost. They're not. They're being continued. They're getting sightings around the Kansas City metro areas, and stuff like that. So that just tells me they're
losing their fear of. They're losing their fear of people, and they know, there's easy pickings.
Yeah, easy food sources all around that garbage and stuff. There's easy food sources. So
absolutely,
they're adapting is what they're doing. They are adapting. So
now here's a question for you.
Yeah.
And we've heard this is on the rise anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Suburban Bigfoot and Dogman sightings.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's gotten that to the point. The more they're almost like they're coming closer into areas that are more populated now. I ain't gonna say they're in suburban areas. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say they're in your backyard or stuff, but there have been reports of them coming through certain backyards in certain areas.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't. No, I just. They be coming through or investigating something they don't know. They're not establishing any kind of a territory at all. Right. I would not think so. But that's neither here nor
there. As many suburban areas as we're popping up now.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, there can't be a bit of green anywhere, can there? So, but anyway, so we are doing lake monsters, not Nessies. No Nessies.
No Nessie.
Nessie, no Nessie. And we're not even really touching on Champ a whole lot, really. Because Champ gets hit a lot, you know, with people in the state. And you know, you got this lady named Katie Elizabeth, you know, she's done stuff with History Channel and different travel channel stuff like that. She's actually one of the foremost. I follow her on Facebook. I keep an eye on stuff. And she literally has almost wrote the book on everything, you know, comprehensive on Champ. Now she's over doing a actual expedition on Loch Ness and Loch Mara over in Scotland. She's gonna be there for like 3-4 months, and she's like, that's a bucket list thing for her. And I'm like, I don't blame you. It was a bucket list thing for me, but I got left at home.
Well, I am ready because I've got a bunch of lake monsters pulled up from all over the world.
Well, we're just doing America. Just to let you know that.
Okay. Well, I got a bunch of them from North America.
Okay. Well, we'll let Donnie start off. You want to start off, Donnie?
Oh, you want me to start? Okay.
It don't matter.
All right. Well, okay. So the lake monster that I pulled up, where is he? Mishipesu.
Ooh.
Yep. He is a Great Lakes lake monster. This one's pretty legendary. This one's more folklore than anything, although there was a reported sighting.
Yeah.
So Mishipesu was he's which Great Lake? I'm trying to figure that out again.
Yeah, I would think it would be
it's
Lake
the
Michigan,
one that Michipicoten Island is on. Lake Superior, that's it.
Oh, it's on Superior? Okay.
Yeah. That's supposedly like where its home is at. So basically what it is the Mishi in Mishipesu it means great like cat. Michigan means like Great Lakes, right? So Mishi means great, right? That's where the name comes from. And this thing was basically considered the king of the Great Lakes by multiple Native American tribes, like the Ojibwe and the Potawatomi. Like there were multiple tribes, kind of like Bigfoot, where there's multiple different tribes that had, you know, completely different cultures and everything, all believed in the same entity or the same creature. Just like with Bigfoot, multiple tribes in that area had legends of the Mishipesu, although it had different names according to whichever tribe it was. Descriptions were all the same, though. It was like a cat-like monster. It was depicted as having like a reptilian or a dragon-like body. What I'm thinking it was most likely was kind of similar to like an Asian-style dragon.
Yeah, because
remember how like those Asian dragons they had like cat-like
I'm looking
faces?
at this caricature you got up right here.
Yeah,
I'm looking at that drawing right there, and I'm immediately thinking How to Train Your Dragon. Honestly, it looks like Toothless. So,
yeah, it is said to. I mean, there's so many legends about it, though. For reals, I mean, people are talking about how nobody messes with it. Everyone just respects it, right?
Okay. Probably a smart thing to do with these things to start with.
Yeah. It's said to guard like a trove of like copper.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And a lot of the times, the legend was for like a lot of these Native Americans culturally living in that area. If you were to go out into the water, or if they were to go out and like take a canoe out there or boat out there, they would always pay homage to the Mishipesu. Make sure they show it the proper respect, because if not, they're going to get got.
Yeah, I see that indigenous tribes, the Ojibwe the Mishipesu translates to what? Underwater panther?
Great panther or great cat.
Okay.
So yeah, this is one that's like not a serpent. Very famously in the 1680s, there was a Jesuit missionary named Claude Dobbin, who was, over in that part of what is now Michigan, trying to, do his missionary work with the natives there. I don't have a picture of him, but this is actually an example of his artwork while he was there. He wrote journals and accounts, and apparently he's got an account from an Ojibwe tribe where 4 of their men actually went out hunting for copper.
Yeah.
And only one survivor made it back. And that survivor was on like death's door by the time he made it back to his people. And he lived just barely long enough to tell the people who rescued him what had happened. And according to him, the Mishipesu showed up and it jacked them all.
And how long ago was this again? What was the year?
1680s.
1680s?
Yeah. So I had AI do a rendition of what that would have looked like.
Okay. Which, I mean, that's an AI rendition, obviously. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
you're right. I mean, there's always that kernel of truth in all the folklore and the stuff passed down, the legends passed down by the Native Americans and such. There's always that kernel of truth. So, where
the king of the Great Lakes.
Exactly. I mean, so there's something that tells me there's something up there that really scared them. But if we're talking about the 1600s, 1680s, or whatever you're talking about right there, why were they looking for copper? I don't know why they would be looking for copper. Maybe for tools, maybe?
For tools or for trade. There was still plenty of trading going on. But, yeah.
Wow.
And there's like rumors of like big copper deposits there. Like Jason and I did a story about like the Bronze Age era.
Yeah.
Where Jason's theory is that the reason why bronze was so plentiful in the Bronze Age, which is in like the Near East and the Mediterranean world, was because his theory is that there were traders going back and forth to the Americas across the Atlantic to the Mediterranean. That's where their copper was coming from, because the amount of bronze that was in the world back then at that time, it didn't make sense because there were no known major copper deposits.
No.
So they think they were actually trading with the Native Americans in the Great Lakes.
Could be true.
Going all the way back to ancient times.
I mean, think about it honestly. I mean, we've already gotten many different theories and some quote unquote proof that people put out. We all know that Columbus was not the first one to come from the
No, definitely not. Yeah, Europe. Definitely not.
So between the Vikings and such that came across on the northern side of it, but there have been Egyptian hieroglyphics found in some caves in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look back at the old America Unearthed that Scott Walter used to do, and I believe there was an episode that they were talking about that there was a speculation that ancient Egyptians actually had made it to our shores. So,
and if you buy into the whole Atlantis theory, then they definitely knew about the Americas, because Atlantis was like right between that. Yeah.
Yep. It was like a midway point. The way they had possessed it anyway, or presented it. So either way,
it's not even that like implausible of like a trek even, because you have all those major land masses and islands that kind of you can stick to like relatively shallow. There's like very little open ocean you would need to actually cross. If you think about
just depending on the time of year and where you're going from the Mediterranean. By the time you got past the I'm trying to remember what there's islands coming off the coast of Portugal there, and I'm trying to remember the name of them. I want to say it's the Antilles, but it may not be. But trying to remember the name of the. I'll remember. My mind's going back to AFN radio, trying to figure out when they tell you all the temperatures and stuff for everything, and that was one of them down by Portugal. But anyway, but it's it's several hundred miles off the coast, so you're getting out into the actual ocean when you hit those. So as long as you got clear sailing and no real weather per se, it's not too hard to believe that they couldn't track just like a hurricane would across the Atlantic. And just
nobody was asking if they were Egyptian or more likely Mayan. The Mayan were like post ancient world, like they came about like a little bit after the Romans.
And this is all conjecture.
We're talking about Bronze Age. We're talking about
theory.
a good millennia and a half before that.
Yeah, we're talking about Mesopotamians and such like that. Yeah. So yeah, it's. I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts, Tex?
It's hard to say because I mean, what's weird is when we start talking about aquatic stuff.
Yeah.
And way back in the day, there's no telling what still existed.
Yeah.
These very well could have been, what species that are extinct now that were leftovers.
Thanks, Werewolf. Yeah, it's the Azores. Sorry, the Azores is what I was trying to think of. But yeah, so it's one of those things like, we could sit there and speculate on the bronze, the movement from old world to new world and stuff like that. It's really not unfathomable that things and people could have easily traversed the Atlantic when the Atlantic was calm. They would have learned by, some way, shape, or form. They would have learned when it was okay to get across, the Atlantic after you lose it. A few dozen boats or whatever.
We know people were seafaring earlier than thought.
Yep.
I mean, we got evidence of that. So, and I don't think we can. I don't see how we can say, "Oh, these were the first." We don't know anymore.
No, we don't.
Especially if they traveled to coastlines and they weren't in a hurry to get anywhere. There's no telling where they could end up.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's so. And now that we look at it back compared to what we used to know back when we were in school, it's not that far of a stretch for us now to look back and say, hey, they could have easily done this. They could have done it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just, yeah. And yeah, Werewolf, right. Vikings, they stayed close to the land and they used the rivers as much as they could.
Yep. What's up, Finster?
And if you look at the lore, I mean, a creature like this, something similar to this, shows up in multiple cultures like that.
Yeah.
And they're very specific and different disparate groups saying that it's got the same MO, which is to guard a hoard of treasure. And it's specifically on this one island in Lake Superior. I mean, we got to go to that island and check it out. I'm not even sure if this is like some kind of weird creature from prehistory that slipped out the scientists' gate notice or anything. I think this is more like something more like godlike or supernatural or something.
Yeah, and it very well could be. And they would have believed that to be supernatural anyway, the Native Americans at that time.
The Native Americans were terrified of this thing, man.
Mm-hmm. And I can't say it's
fairly recent too.
If you go out there and look at that, you're gonna be, hey, I'm good to go. No, I want to go. I want to go now.
So I'm working on an AI image.
Okay.
This may be what I'm looking for. Let's see. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there are also some versions that has it as like a humanoid creature too, like a human cat-like thing. Others have it more animal-like, but
yeah,
it's the same thing. It's the same idea.
Okay, so you wanted to stick with the United States, right?
well, yeah, we're trying to. Well, America in general.
Yeah, okay. I don't see how we can talk lake monsters in the United States without talking about Lake Worth.
Okay. What are we talking about on Lake Worth? Are we talking about the Lake Worth monster? Or are we talking about an actual aquatic monster?
No, the Lake Worth monster, which was supposed to be at least semi-aquatic, you know?
Okay.
Well, wasn't he?
Well, no, the way I understood it was a large white furry ball.
No.
It was a white Bigfoot, right?
That's what I understood. It was supposed to be a white Bigfoot type thing.
No. That was not the first descriptions. And why isn't it coming up?
That I can't tell you.
Oh, I was trying to bring up videos. Never mind. So the description of the Lake Worth monster is a fishy man-goat humanoid with a humanoid torso with goat legs covered in white fur and scales. See, that is the description that I remember hearing. Was
white fur and scales.
White fur and scales. With goat-like legs, okay? Which this really doesn't have. But so this is kind of what got that one. I got this one. I don't know why
they said it had goat horns.
Yeah, that's why they call it the Goat Man. And it supposedly had red eyes.
See that? I never put the Goat Man, like Goat Man Bridge and the Lake Worth monster together as one. No. I would never even thought of them like that. So,
well, no, they're not.
I wouldn't. Well, then I wouldn't ever consider that a Goat Man, obviously.
Well, so the Goat Man Bridge in Denton is the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
and that's a whole different legend. That is, actually a man, and it actually happened. But that's more of a haunting because the legend of Goat Man Bridge is it was a man that raised goats, and it was a black guy, from what I understand, and for some reason they hung him with really no reason, and he haunts that place. That's why it's called Goat Man Bridge. The Lake Worth Goat Man is supposed to look something like this. It's supposed to be goat-like legs. This is the description that I grew up with. Humanoid upper body, white fur, goat-like legs with scales, and like ram-like horns.
Yeah,
and red glowing eyes. And he was always seen around Greer Island. That was supposed to be his haunt, I guess you could say.
Yeah. See, the only time I ever heard anything about the Lake Worth monster was when the picture was taken by Mr. Plaster way back when. That was it. That's the only write-up. That's the only anything I ever even heard about that. But much like I have never heard of the Beast of LBL either. And I stayed many nights out in LBL. So.
Right. Well, and now the thing about it was that there were dozens of people, including cops, in this one sighting that saw this thing throw a tire 500 feet, a tire and a rim 500 feet.
Yeah.
At a group, there was a group of teenagers. They were out there partying. The cops came to break it up, and something pissed this creature off, and it chunked a tire at them, and they all saw it. So that was the big sighting. There was other sightings. There was actually an encounter where a couple, either a couple or two couples that were together, I can't remember, and they were out there parking, and this thing ripped open put gashes in their cars, chasing their car. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I'll be dang.
But he was supposed to be back here in the swamps, because it gets swampy back here on the north end of Lake Worth back there.
Yeah. North ends of all these lakes get like that. But like I said, I'd never heard of it like that, so that's something new for me. So, but
yeah, Werewolf, this is the Texas thing. It's Lake Worth, Texas, is what it is.
Yeah, yep. So, but we're kind of the cat's away, might as well play. But Donny, we're gonna pull it out quick here today.
Donny Cho, meme of the week.
Okay, so I guess we kind of blew our wad with the meme of the week by replacing it with the theme song.
Yeah.
And earlier, before when it was just Randy and I backstage, discussing my next show for next week or for this coming Saturday, I uploaded my theme song for that show. I figured, since we already showed my meme of the week, I might as well give you guys a preview of my theme song for my show coming up this Saturday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. The topic is going to be cryptid power levels. And I'll show you the theme song.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with our topic, but might as well.
No, but it's a meme. It's good enough.
It's time for the ultimate test. To find out which cryptid is the best. Figure out who'd win in a fight. Gonna be a violent night. Cryptid power levels. Cryptid power levels. Gonna find the champion. Cryptid power levels. Bigfoot versus Dogman, who would win? Mothman versus Jesus, the bets are in. Donny Cho versus Big Ol' Nessie. Hold tight, folks, things bout to get messy. Cryptid power levels. Cryptid power levels. Gonna find the champion. Cryptid power levels. Which cryptid has the ultimate power to fight and rage and make other cower? Donny Cho says stuff for crazy nights. Ultimate cryptid power. Who will win the fight?
So yeah, that's my topic for this Saturday. It's cryptid power levels.
I am sorry. Okay. That looked like Randall Park. Sorry. You just look like Randall Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have an issue.
All right.
Why is Jesus considered a cryptid?
Oh, no, he's not considered a cryptid, but I did do that episode a while back, Jesus versus Dogman, like if Jesus had to fist fight a Dogman. So I wanted to continue with that. With like, if, what would happen if Jesus had to fist fight like Mothman? No powers. No powers. No second coming superpower stuff. Pre-crucifixion, like remember the scene in the Bible where he like flips all those tables and goes nuts and beats everybody up?
Temple, yeah.
I'm talking about that Jesus. If he got into a fist fight with Mothman, who would win?
Well,
no powers. No powers.
Considering I tell everybody to this day still Mothman was an owl. Okay. So anyway.
How dare you, Randy? How dare you?
Yeah, don't even try me with that one. That would be that's one that irks me a lot sometimes. But that being said, all of them would have had their butts kicked by Elvis, so it doesn't make no difference. You saw Elvis was in full-blown karate mode.
The only person, the only two, well, I'll take it back. The only two people that would give, the Elvis cryptid a run for his money, aside from Jesus, because Jesus is going to wipe out all of them. I'm just saying. I'm thinking Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris. You didn't even have Chuck Norris in there. What even?
Don't worry. No, there's. I have other cryptids and entries that I didn't include in the theme song because I don't want to, spoil it.
Yeah,
I've got a few others.
Because you got to leave Chuck Norris out of there. First of all, you got to leave Chuck Norris out because he trumps everything. All right.
Well,
I'm gonna do it as like a tier list. I'm gonna rank all the cryptids in terms of who I think can, who has the higher power levels.
Yeah.
Like Lake Worth Monster. I mean, that thing chucked a freaking tire, not just the rubber part, like with the rims and everything, the interior. Like he chucked that whole thing across like a football field. That's pretty strong. That thing's got like mad power levels.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna rank them. Like, and I'm gonna rank different types of Bigfoot too.
I personally think.
You personally think what?
I think he died on us.
Oh, I think he. Oh.
Yeah, he
glitched out there for a second. Yep.
Yeah, everything started buffering.
Uh-oh.
But I think Lake Worth. I don't think it was a goat man. I think Lake Worth Monster was a Sasquatch,
or maybe something else entirely.
Possibly.
Yeah, and based off that description, kind of cool looking though.
Yeah. And I don't know what AI you're using, but it's not one of the three that I use, evidently, because I can't get nowhere close to the images that you're pulling.
Oh, you just got to make you know what it is? You just got to word your instructions right.
Yeah.
It really depends on how you word it. Yeah.
And you're supposed to be doing a theme song for Texas Front Porch.
Y'all need to sit down and do an actual a video showing people how to work AI. But then again, you got to have job security, so you might not want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, now I guess we're going to go back to what we started off with, right?
Sure.
All right. So we were talking about Mishy Pishu.
Yep.
And I got a couple of them actually, but the biggest one I came up with was my buddy, the Ogopogo. Okay. Ogopogo is supposedly the lake monster to have at Okanagan Lake in British Columbia. Okay. First Nations folklore, widespread. This monster is just literally a man eater. It would just wait for something to come across the lake and it would take it, right? That's the folklore. Okay. The realistic part of it is, we don't know for sure. Because all the way back in, I'm trying to find the one I loaded up here. Where are you at? I had another Ogopogo picture, but there's a Lake Manitoba has one as well called Manipogo, which this one was taken in 1962 by Richard Vincent. Okay. Basically, it's the same folklore and everything that goes along with this picture versus the Ogopogo. Okay. Now, we covered this one in Truth or Tinfoil, and we looked at this pretty close. Now, the guy that took it was they were part of a reporter team for the area. So they had the wherewithal and the information or the ability to quote unquote doctor. I don't think they necessarily doctored it per se. I think it's just a case of mistaken identity all the way around. I think the picture was taken. Yeah, it looks like a log or some debris on top of the water. So that's my personal opinion. Now, they haven't been able to debunk it. They haven't been able to do anything, but like I told people before, when you zoom in on it, you can see where the water tends to kind of blur it out. And, it really looks like something was put onto the negative itself to create this photo. So, but can I say yes or no? No, it's 1962. I don't know how much, video editing and picture editing experience those people had. So, that's Manipogo. I mean, that's Lake Manitoba. Now we've got Ogopogo in the last year and a half, I think it is. Small Town Monsters just did a full hour show on Ogopogo based off of one thing and one thing only. And that was this picture that these people took on this boat. This right here. This is the original picture. I uploaded it, so I can't zoom in. I can't do anything. And you know me, on Truth or Tinfoil, we looked at it as well. Okay. And simply, I don't know that it's the best documented. I've seen some of the pictures
out there. It looks like a wolf head
it.
under the water, like a giant wolf head, but it's probably not a wolf head.
I'm going to say it's some sort of debris. That's just me, and simply came up with this one. Is it Ogopogo the best documented lake monster? I don't know about the documented part because it's literally just like any other lake monster you ever run into. There are thousands upon thousands of supposed pictures out there. 99.95% of them can be debunked real easy. This one's a little harder because of the distance at it right now. Now, when Small Town Monsters did their little video on it and everything, they actually did. I don't know if they did the work, but somebody did to bring it in. Now, it's a digital photo, so this had to be enhanced because there's no way you go from that to that without a little computer work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I keep looking at it and I'm like,
man, that could be anything.
Yeah, it's so hard to say. I understand where they're coming from, what they're seeing. Okay, the color's wrong. What is causing it to be there? But there's no way you get this close to an Ogopogo like creature. There's the boat. You see the boat, right? There's no way you get that close to it without it doing something. Okay.
Well, I disagree with that, but I mean, there's always a chance. But
well, yeah, there's always a chance, but for something that's supposedly
it's like a Chinese dragon to me.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looked like to me. When I looked at this, is the first picture I saw of it, and I immediately thought somebody doctored it because if you look at the horns coming out, they look kind of like they've been touched up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say this: you do see the shadow of the neck going down.
Yes. Yes.
So there is that. And I think that's a plus on the picture side. So.
Yeah, I can see that. And like I said, the guys at Small Town Monsters did a full hour show on this. Okay. So I can't say yes or no because I can't disprove it and I can't prove it per se. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I still am like, I'm sorry. It's a wild animal.
I mean, have there been eyewitness accounts or like people like have close-up encounters? Like,
yeah, they're all over the place. I mean, you can look at the Ogopogo site on Wiki alone, and you've got everything from stuff from Brendan Radford doing the Native American myths and legends, all the way to Pat Raphael in the West Bank of the First Nation talking about the larger Okanagan National Alliance and their views on it and what they've seen. I mean, there's hundreds upon hundreds. The alleged sightings from 1872, 1968.
Where's Lake Ogopogo?
It's in British Columbia. So, I mean, you're talking about 68. I'm just looking just right off the top of it. I'm not going to read any of them because anybody can go out and look and read this stuff easy. But the 1980s, in 1980, there was a 50 tourists watching alleged Ogopogo for 45 minutes. Okay. Tourists from Vancouver captured 10 seconds. They watched it for 45 minutes and they got 10 seconds of the sighting on 8mm film. Okay. This is where I start having issues. 1980, not everybody has cameras on them. Don't get me wrong. I understand this and nobody is but you're a tourist. Somebody's taking home video some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Okay. So, and I've looked at tried to find this 8mm film and I still can't seem to find it anywhere. Okay. And you know, this guy, Larry Thal, he was the one that caught it. But again, I cannot find the actual video. If I could see the video, 10 seconds of it, it may turn into something like with Loch Ness, where you see the one video, the guy taking the video of that thing going across very slowly across the loch. And quite frankly, every time I see it and they break it down and everything, I was like, it looks like an otter or something going across is what it looks like. So, I mean, once again, we're stuck in a place where it's going to take some sort of DNA, something that we can, definitively say, yeah, it's there. And they've done DNA testings on both Lake Champlain, Loch Ness, of course. And I don't know if they've done eDNA on Ogopogo or not. But none of the stuff has ever come up with anything outside of eel, really, that was in the area. Obviously, the regular fish and the sturgeons and stuff like that. They even had seals in Loch Ness. They had seal DNA, which seals get in there every so often. But you're still talking about known animals, not a cryptid, not anything out of the ordinary. But we still cannot explain all the sightings and what people are seeing. Does that mean everybody that's had these sightings has had some sort of misidentification? What does it mean?
So
what did the eyewitnesses say it looked like? Like the people who said that they had a close encounter with it.
It's almost always the serpent style that you're hearing. The
like a Loch Ness
three
monster?
hump / well, this is more snake-like from what I've seen on this one. This is more of a snake-like thing, long, skinny body with what they call humps, which could be the coils of it coming up. You know what I mean? If you've ever seen I don't want to say a manatee. There was another one. It was a walrus. When a walrus comes up, okay, and it takes its head back below, a lot of its blubber, and it brings the back up like a big hump.
Yeah.
Not where it's doing the dive, but it'll literally get on top of the water, stick its head down, and the back end will just kind of float up while it's looking for food under the water. So the same thing can be said for sea lions and such. Manatees the same way in Florida. Okay. So yeah. I don't I don't know, honestly. That's the problem I've got there with it, is I just don't know, because there's too many witnesses and people seeing things and certain videos that you cannot necessarily outright debunk. And I'm talking more along the lines on the Loch Ness side, because it gets investigated a heck of a lot more than what the American lake monsters do. The ones for Champ, almost every video or every picture I've seen of Champ on Lake Champlain, I can figure out a way to debunk it. Whether or not I can physically go out there and debunk it is another story, but you can come up with a reasonable explanation for it. Now, there's a lot of people that have the sturgeon mentality on it, okay? Sturgeons get to be monstrous. They're 16 foot. They're 400 pounds, 500 pounds, much like for us down here, the alligator gar. But I ain't going swimming with no alligator gar, okay? But when these things skim the surface, they leave a wake. The problem is with it being a sturgeon, sturgeons that leave wake always have a tail fin sticking out when they do that. Almost always. Because their tail fin is a little bit kind of like a shark. It kind of sticks up a little bit. Right. So, yeah, red tip. I mean, could it be giant eels? That's the description that's given of Ogopogo, but it's not the description that's given of the stuff like Loch Ness, or, Champ has been described as both the eel and the Loch Ness style plesiosaur. So we don't know. That's the problem, is and we'll never know. I don't know if we'll ever know, honestly.
Well, someone actually goes in there and tries to catch that thing and pulls something out that would count for it.
And I know that I've seen, in fact, river monsters. I'll say it like that. River monsters with Jeremy Wade. He went after the sturgeon. He went up onto, I want to say it was Lake Michigan, though, that he went up and he went after the sturgeon. And he pulled out one that was like 6 foot long, and it took him 2 hours to bring it in. So they're not an easy catch. I mean,
no.
So, I mean,
here, I'll pull up a picture of that for you, Randy. Keep going.
Okay.
So there's one that I was looking at here, And it's actually in Missouri.
Okay. In the Lake of the Ozarks, right?
It's in the Missouri River.
Okay.
Mini-Watu.
Okay. Mini-Watu.
Do what?
Mini-Watu, yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of the monster. It's an amphibious creature with a body like that of a buffalo, covered with red hair. It has a single horn on its forehead and a single eye. Its back is notched like a saw.
That and see, well, the hair doesn't really do me any good with that, because obviously if we're talking aquatic, I don't think we see a whole lot of hair bald unless it was some sort of parasite on it or something like that. But the saw back, I mean, don't get me wrong, what you described, if somebody just saw that back, you could easily say that could have been a sturgeon, because you've seen the back of a white sturgeon. Ain't nothing but those big white tips going down that sucker.
Right.
I don't know about that one, so that's one of those things I don't know.
Here we go. There's that episode where he catches a sturgeon. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And see how big that was, and that took him 2 hours to do that. Okay.
Yeah. Those things, they don't mess around.
No, they're not. They're kind of like a I don't want to say they're a bottom feeder or anything.
Sturgeons?
No, yeah, I think they're an active feeder, but the way their mouth is, I don't know what kind of. I don't think they really have teeth either, though. I think they kind of clean as they go. You know, they pretty much eat just about anything they can get their mouths on, I guess. I don't know how else to put it.
I mean, when you see 3 humps in the water like that, that really literally could just be anything, really. I mean, it could be 3 separate animals, like 3 manatees swimming like in a line, you know?
Yeah, Ristle got it. That's what I was trying to think of. They're giant suckerfish, really. They're the cleaners. Mm-hmm. That's why they get so big. They go through and they clean everything, you know? So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, anybody here in the state of Texas or anybody out there that goes fishing, you know it's fun to catch a carp? A big, stupid carp. It is great fun to catch. You ain't going to eat the sucker.
Man. Hey, catching carp on an ultralight's a blast.
Oh, well, yeah. That's anything on an ultralight's a blast, though, really.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, but yeah, red tip. I mean, honestly, you're right. I mean, a lot of stuff could be mistaken for water monster, and a lot of stuff is, because I've ran into a couple of them. Not necessarily Ogopogo. I can't remember which one the other one was, but there was one when we did our show on Truth or Tinfoil. I had one that had the line of it going out and around, and you could tell just by looking at it. You know how the floating nets with the little pig pillow like things that float on top of the water, and you got the net underneath like an oil skimmer almost type thing. It's one of those, but because the back end had broken off and it was out of way, you could tell what it was just looking at it. Somebody said that was a lake monster.
People are like, now I want to go fishing.
I'm with you. I'm going Friday, whether anybody likes it or not. I'm going Friday.
Oh, here's another animal that often gets confused for like a sea serpent.
Okay.
The oarfish. Look at that.
Yeah,
thing.
the oar.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Look
Big
at
time.
that thing.
And they get a lot longer than that.
And those guys are having a monster time getting that sucker in too. I guess they spearfish that one.
Yeah, they're just washed up. They'll wash up too.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
There's actually a lake monster in Arizona.
Okay.
It's in Lake Powell.
Okay.
And it says it possesses a large dorsal fin like that of a shark, a body built like an elephant, the flat, wide tail of a manatee, and a head and neck like a miniature brontosaurus. Its skin is described as being a dark, oily black and smooth like that of an eel.
Huh. I see. You brought that up. I went out and did a quick look up, and I'm just looking at the Pine Barrens Institute right up on it.
It's called skin fin.
Yeah, I'm looking, and I'm trying to see. They got this picture on there, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, is that from the actual lake? Is that an actual picture there, or what is it? Because I don't know how far inland this lake is, and how good the water source is to it from the ocean, because that fin looks like a shark fin to me, and which makes me raise the question if they got bull sharks.
Well, yeah, but where would they come from in Arizona?
If they can get up a river, that's what I was asking. How good
the only
river?
Thing, I mean, what freaking river?
That's what I'm asking. If there was a river coming to feed into it, there's usually a river feeding into it, and if there's a river feeding in, it's got to feed out to the ocean some way, shape, or form. So in that case, you got an opening for a bull shark. Hell, the bull sharks have been found 200 miles up the Mississippi. So.
Yeah, but I mean, Arizona's landlocked.
I understand it. That's why I was asking about what river feeds it, because it's got to have unless it's a man-made reservoir, then it would be completely landlocked without any drainage, without any inlet, because every water or every natural lake has a river coming in and a river going out.
Okay, so this is what it says about Lake Powell. Is a reservoir on the Colorado River.
Okay, so there's
Utah and Arizona.
River. Okay,
it goes through Utah and Arizona.
Okay.
It was created by flooding the flooding of Glen Canyon by the Glen Canyon Dam, which also led to the 1972 creation of Glen Canyon National Recreation Park.
Okay.
The reservoir is named after John Wesley Powell, a Civil War veteran who explored the river via 3 wooden boats in 1869. It lies primarily in southern Utah with a small portion in northern Arizona. So
we know the Colorado's feeding into it.
Yes.
And at one point down by the dam, the Colorado feeds out of it. I'm guessing where you're talking about is south of the Grand Canyon. Is that the way I'm understanding this?
Yeah, because I mean, it's actually we actually drove over the dam when we went to Utah.
Okay, so if that's in Utah, then that means that it's got to be north of the Grand Canyon itself. Then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
and everybody always talks. I know this is off topic, but everybody always talks about how many lives were lost in building the Boulder Dam, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is really none except for a dog.
That depends on if you listen to the highwayman. The highwayman tell you there is.
Yeah. But anyway, well, now wait a minute, back up, because that is built on the Colorado also.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so is this dam. Listen to this. Concrete placement started around the clock on June 17, 1960. The last bucket of over 5 million cubic yards was poured on September 13, 1963. The dam is 710 feet high, and I've been on this thing. I've got pictures from it.
Yeah.
And the surface elevation of the water at full pool is approximately 3,700 feet. Construction cost $155 million, and 18 lives were lost. On September 22nd, 1966, it was dedicated by Lady Bird Johnson. So there you go.
That's cool. I mean, honestly, it's cool. It's a cool story, right? And I don't know that like I said, I don't know that this picture that I'm looking at is an actual picture from the lake, or it's just some sort of filler, obviously.
Right.
So, but I'm saying that picture I'm looking at, it looks like a bull shark fin is what it looks like. But anyway, oh, Patty, we did talk a little bit about Champ earlier, but Champ gets hit a lot too. So, but Champ, I don't have any. Well, pretty much every picture of Champ I've ever gotten, I've disproved. But Champ is basically the same thing as what we've been talking about. We're talking about these lake monsters across that northern area that's all on the same line with with Loch Ness. You got Champ, Manitoba, Ogopogo, Lake Michigan, Mishu, whatever that was, the first one that Donny was talking about, Pishu. That was it. Did I get it?
Yeah, I think so.
Donny, quit listening. Look at him.
Sorry, I was just looking something up here.
He's zoning out. But yeah, but all those are basically along pretty much the same parallel as far as north to south.
Right.
So you think about that. Is there something along that parallel? Now we're talking about possibility of ley lines having something else involved, you know? Can something go from one lake to the next, to the next, to the next?
Right.
So, I mean, these things are cool for me to talk about stuff because you can't disprove and you can't prove. There's no way to disprove or prove one way or the other. They will always be the subject of discussion and heated debates for some people or whatever. But if anybody goes out there and talks bad about Adrian Shine, we're going to have a fight. All right. I just let you know that right now.
I don't even know who that is.
Pretty much any documentary associated with Loch Ness over the last 50 years, Adrian Shine's in it.
Oh, Loch Ness Monster sucks, guys. Let's just face it.
Hey,
everyone in the cryptid community, let's just face the reality.
Adrian Shine does not, though. Adrian Shine will kick
He's the Gary Coleman of cryptids.
Lord have mercy. Here we go.
Can I tell you the reason why I think Loch Ness Monster sucks?
What's that?
Okay. When I was a kid,
the bottom feeder?
I saw this book about like cryptids for the very first time when I was like 8 years old, like in the school library, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It's the first time in my life I ever heard of a cryptid, and because as a little kid I was obsessed with dinosaurs and like mythology monsters. So when I read this book, my mind was blown, guys, because I thought, whoa, dragons and monsters and ape men, they're real? They could be real? And that blew my mind. And on the cover of this thing was the Loch Ness Monster. Its teeth were all out. It was all crazy looking. And that book really opened my eyes to the possibility of cryptids, right? That's me at 8 years old. Flash forward, 30 years later, I first get into the cryptid scene. Not having any encounter, not being into, I just got thrust into the scene. So my first thought was, hey, where them Loch Ness Monster podcasts at? Where them Loch Ness Monster shows at? How come there's all these cryptid shows, but nobody mentions Loch Ness Monster? Oh, okay, I get it. He fell off in the 80s, like Gary Coleman.
Well,
he fell off because he sucks. If he didn't suck, people would be talking about him on their cryptid shows, but they don't because he sucks.
Well,
Dogman came and stole all his thunder.
Agree. Yeah, well, don't get me started on that one either.
Dogman waltzed along in the mid-90s and was like, I'm here, guys. And then nobody started paying attention to Loch Ness because it sucks.
Yeah, Mickey, 100%. I'm going to tell you right now. In Search Of was the greatest show ever made. All right? Period, bar none. Just to hear Leonard Nimoy tell everybody about Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster or ghosts or something.
Barbara says it drowned. And Shade Viking's like, what you talking about, Donny?
Yeah, he don't know, Shade. He don't know. Don't worry about him.
No, it's the Gary Coleman of cryptids, guys.
So, but...
It was big in the 80s, but then it fell off.
Yeah, they've done several other documentaries on it since then. So, but you're right about the podcast side of it, because the reason being, you can't find any extra proof. All you have is hearsay and everything. Whereas we have so many blob squatches out on social media alone we got fodder for days to play with on.
Yeah, and people are having like Bigfoot encounters all left and right.
Yep.
All the time. I'm not hearing any new Loch Ness encounters, guys. I don't know what's up with Loch Ness. He's just lazy. I think he just sucks.
Yeah. Okay. It is.
Dogman's out there. He's doing work. He's showing up to people all the time.
Listen, go mess around with the AI. Make yourself look like Randall Park again, like you're actually going to go fight a cryptid. All right, and we'll discuss some more, because this one is one of those that I don't like to talk. We're talking about American stuff, so I'm trying not to get into that one. I will always defend Loch Ness, because I still don't know to this day, and because there was a guy that did, I believe it was 54. A gentleman was trying to break the water speed record, and they were doing it on Loch Ness because of how long it is. And midway through it, something made wake in front of him, and he hit something that his boat literally disintegrated, and he was killed there on the loch. They still couldn't figure out to this day what it was that made the wake and made that boat wreck.
Hey guys, I found the book actually that I read as a kid. This might be familiar to you. Let me know if you've seen this before. Okay. This was the book. Do you remember this one?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had that too.
You had this book? Tex, is this book familiar to you?
No.
This was the first time I ever laid eyes on any description of Bigfoot ever.
Look up there in the corner. Look up there in the corner. You know why? That little balloon, you got it at a book fair.
Yep, I sure did. I was a little kid. I was in elementary school. I thought it was the coolest thing, man. Look at that thing. I was like, yo, that thing is real.
Giant squid there too.
I was all into Loch Ness Monster back then. Believe you me, I mean, look at this thing. It talks about Yeti and Kraken and actual dragons.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about stuff that a kid in elementary school reading that, the imagination just goes wild, you know.
Then I'm a grown ass man coming into the cryptid scene for the first time. I'm looking around and I'm like, yo, where's Loch Ness Monster at? Oh, we don't talk about him no more?
There's nothing to talk about. That's the problem. Like I said, there's no new evidence.
Sucks.
There's no new evidence. You can't. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I think like Barbara out there said, like the Bermuda Triangle. There's no new evidence. Right. You don't have anything new, you know, and you can't. You can only fill up so much time if you don't have some new stuff to play with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Loch Ness Monster wound up like Gary Coleman working as a security guard at a shopping mall. All forgotten.
But he ran for governor before he died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surprised he didn't win. Oh, well. Well, you know what? We've gone an hour and almost 10.
Yeah, we have. So do we have any announcements to make or anything? What's coming up with all your shows, guys?
I will have a return to Red Circle Sunday come this Sunday. I know that.
Ooh, nice. Tex, how about you?
Let me look at the calendar real quick.
Oh yeah, he's got a calendar.
Well, yeah, I'm.
He gets guests
on the calendar. Everybody's calendar goes to my calendar. What are you talking about?
He books actual guests. Man, I haven't had a guest on my show in ages.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and get what's her name? That lady that's in Loch Ness right now. I'm going to try and get her to come in and talk about Champ one day on Truth Ortinfoil. If I can get her to do
I will tell you this. We have 2 listeners coming up this week.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. On Southern Belle Bigfoot, Mickey G's going to be on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's Sunday,
and
right?
This Sunday. And on the porch, on Monday, Henry, that you see in chat, is going to be on.
Oh, cool. You're right, Rissel. It's Katie. Yep. That's who I want to try and get on here.
And on my show this Saturday, tune in to find out about the cryptid power levels. Which cryptid would beat up which cryptid? Can Dogman beat up Bigfoot? Can Mothman fight Jesus? Things like that. We're going to rank them, and we're going to figure out their actual power levels.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Elvis is gonna take them all out.
Elvis, yeah, we'll see. Do you guys want to hop on for that? I was thinking about making that into like a panel discussion.
I might be around for that one.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll talk on
I
Saturday.
make no guarantees. I might be fishing. I don't know yet.
All right, we'll figure it out.
But anywho, all right, guys. Thanks for showing up and dealing with us rambling on and stuff. So, Tex, make sure you stick around and watch us leave this one because it's going to be interesting. You'll like this one. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
We're gathered on Wednesday night. Donny, Brandi, Randy, Texas. What's a topic with some bite? Find what to discuss next. Lake monsters, swimming around, getting messy. Lake monsters, all those creatures except Nessie. What swims American waters? Discussing monsters of the lakes. Not beavers, gators, nor otters, and not Nessie, cause that shit's fake. Lake monsters, swimming around, getting messy. Lake monsters, all those creatures except Nessie. The hero BMR is here. From Detroit, the land of cars and trucks, to battle monsters we all fear. Except for Nessie, that dude sucks.